All right, bet. So one of my goals is every single one of these calls that I start doing throughout the week, I'm gonna start also uploading these on my YouTube channel. So for anybody that misses these calls, or maybe there's something you hopped on later, you missed it, didn't get a chance to take notes, you can always go back and review it on the YouTube channel. So my goal is to be able to move forward, start dropping 2 YouTube videos a day starting on Monday. And I could do it. I just got to be way more consistent. So, because I seen like how I ended off 2021, and it's like I actually did. I didn't expect to do what I did because I think whenever I dropped, this was like my first video. Because as you can see, the thumbnails, look at my thumbnails leading up to this one. This is when everything changed. I started taking it serious. So from this video is when I can't even say take it serious because I was half-assing, but I grew my channel basically from whatever it was to almost 500, and I got like 10,000 watch hours or something, or 10,000 views, something like that total. So we're gonna make this thing popping. So y'all make sure y'all check out the video tomorrow at 10 a.m. Set your alarms. And I'm gonna go ahead and drop that in the chat. On top of that, the other thing y'all be able to take advantage of is if you are not currently in my Telegram chat, I'm gonna go ahead and drop that in there as well too. So my Telegram chat is Legacy Wealth Signals. I do drop Forex trades as well as, drop the calls that you're currently on tonight. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys that link. Once you get in the Telegram, you have the ability to get the link too. You should have the ability to get the link. So if you click on this, it should be available for you to be able to copy this and send it to anybody, send it to a friend. It's open to the general public. So without any further ado, we're about to go ahead and dive into it. Like I said, this is going to be recorded, so you will be able to go back and rewatch this on the YouTube. Okay. So, this probably isn't going to be the longest call. The thing I am also going to start doing moving forward is only doing calls whenever we actually have a trade idea. So since we're not currently in a trade and I don't have anything I've sent out, normally this would be a day that I just wouldn't do a call. So I'm gonna kind of do it like that. And it'll kind of just be like random days. So like if Monday I send out a trade idea, then that means Monday night I'm gonna do a call, or up until the trade expires. So like if we're holding the trade for 2 days, I'm gonna keep doing a call until the trade is over. So I'm saying all that to say I don't really have like a technical setup to go over. So I guess I'm gonna just spend the majority of the time going over the DeLorean. Yeah, because I don't necessarily want to spend time explaining something if we don't even take the trade. So I have a couple opportunities, this and this, but they're not within range for me to send it out. So I'm not necessarily gonna take what was I going to say? I'm not gonna take my time to explain that. So we're just gonna go into the DeLorean training. So basically, if you guys were on the call yesterday, I did explain that it would have benefited you guys to check out my YouTube video going over the DeLorean. If not, you guys are going to get access to that once again, of course. So on my channel, if I scroll down a little bit lower right here, how to use DeLorean. So I actually have a YouTube video I created.
How can I learn?
Whoa, I got a YouTube video, so I actually created to be able to help you guys pretty much get like a kickstart on a strategy we're going to be going over tonight, which is the DeLorean. Excuse me. So if you guys looking to chase, you have a few different messages: my YouTube channel, my Telegram, and a DeLorean YouTube. And then from there, I also spoke on an educator named Patrick Kenny, who's going to be one of the primary educators for that strategy within IM. So he actually has a 5-day boot camp. So what I'll do is I'll click on one of these videos. I'll share the link. Y'all can subscribe to his channel, and then from there y'all can go watch the additional videos as well too.
Oh, no.
All right, cool.
Here, try the.
So let me go ahead and take that off. All right, bet. So now what I want to be able to focus on is teaching you guys the strategy. So the dope thing about the strategy is, I mean, first and foremost, this is going to be a strategy exclusive to IM. So if you are not in, it may be a little more difficult for you to learn, but it's going to be all good because the main goal is you'll be able to take the concepts that I'm going to apply today. So first thing I want to be able to talk to you guys about is I'm going to just show you guys in general how to be able to set up your EMAs and stuff like that. So that's kind of like what I'll take some time to do. So basically, what you guys want to do is you want to go to FX where it says indicators and strategies. You want to click that. And then you want to type in 5 EMA. So whenever you do that, actually, no. There you go. So what you want to do is you want to type in the word DeLorean. Okay, type in the word DeLorean and then you can add the DeLorean EMAs. And then what that's going to do is it's going to give you EMAs that basically look like this on your chart. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. You'll have 5. Yeah, it's called the 5 EMA. So you're going to have a dark blue. You're going to have an aqua, a white and or gray, depending on the background of your screen. And then a red and yellow. The yellow, you kind of got to get up in here to see it, the yellow. All right, so these are going to be your 5 EMAs to be able to use this strategy. So the concept of the strategy is these EMAs represent support and resistance. It also helps you identify the overall trend of the market. So obviously keep in mind, everything I'm going to explain is going to be a very condensed rough draft version. So do not expect you to take this information and run with it. The whole concept of it is for y'all to get plugged in the proper way and then learn it from the actual education. But you do have technically 6 YouTube videos I gave you guys so that you could study up on. So all I'm finna do is give y'all a rough draft. I'm not finna do the work that's already been put forth in the videos. But anyway, so with these 3 EMAs, they can help you identify trends. So the easiest thing to know is if you see that these candles are majority underneath all 3 of these EMAs, that means that you are in a downtrend. So this was actually the first strategy that I learned that I was able to be successful with in the market because it just made everything so much more easy. So guess what? In reverse, if you ever have a point in time to where these candles are above all 3 of these EMAs, 1, 2, 3, I'm referencing the dark blue, the white, the aqua, right? The dark blue, the white, the aqua. Notice how these candles are above all 3. That means this is an uptrend, which is why the market is going up. This is a downtrend, right? Because all 3 are above the market, which means we are going down. Okay. So these are easy identifiers for new people, experienced people. It could just kind of help your eye be guided to, without even having to guess. You already know the overall market trend, but obviously it depends on the time frame, you know, so on and so forth. So on top of that, as I said, you also can use these as support and resistance. So look at what happens whenever the market ended up running up and hitting this dark blue line, right? If you see what it did, if we zoom up, you can see the market reacted and then it sold off. Why is that? Because as I just mentioned, these act as support and resistance lines. So if at any point in time, any of these EMAs are above the price, that means that these are current resistance areas. If they're below price, that means that these would be support areas. Another example, if the market hit this dark blue line and then fell to the aqua would be representing a support at that point because it was underneath the market. So it is by no surprise that you guys can actually see how the market basically held at this aqua EMA, right? So in the grand scheme of things, that's what these EMAs are going to represent. Now, EMAs in general, that's basically what they're used for. Most people don't necessarily use 5, right? Some people use 1, 2, maybe 3. 5 is not necessarily what most people use, but this is why this is a strategy that you're able to, you know, use in a lot of different instances because each EMA serves a very different purpose. Okay. And then ultimately from that, the DeLorean itself is going to be something that you learn through the academy, but an actual DeLorean is going to be pretty straightforward. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna walk you guys through one example because like I said, everything is already in those YouTube videos that I just showed you. So the dope thing about this scanner is the scanner helps you find the DeLorean. So you do not need the scanner to be able to find the DeLorean, but I'm gonna be honest, it's going to take a lot more effort, a lot more time, and you're gonna miss a lot of them. So it's just like anything else. Technology is here to help you. You don't necessarily need technology. So I give you an example, right? people were able to build houses before they had machinery, quote unquote, heavy machinery and stuff like that. Now, I'm pretty sure you could still build a house without any kind of machinery. But if you were to ask somebody, would you rather build a house by hand or would you rather have a little help? They're going to say they'd rather have a little help. So this is the same thing. You don't need the scanner, but it's like, why wouldn't you want to be able to have something that can help you? So the scanner is basically going to put in all the effort, scan all the pairs, and it's going to say, hey, Tyree, every 15 minutes, we're going to let you know if we see what we consider to be a good DeLorean. If so, you can decide on if you want to take it. Okay. Now, whenever they call these out, it doesn't mean every single one they call out is a good one. It just means that they're calling them out. Okay. So everything is not the same. Okay. So your job is to be able to take some rules that they've created to be able to weed out the bad ones and then leverage your money on the good ones, right? The majority of the ones called out are not going to be that good. I'm just going to be honest with you because it's a robot. It's just picking out everything it sees. Your job is to be able to decipher what the robot is calling out and then pinpoint the ones that you want. So maybe you only see one or two good ones get called out all day. Okay. But trading is not about the volume of trades. It's about, you know, the volume of money that you make per trade. It's not about the amount of trades. It's how much do you make in the trade, right? So the concept of a DeLorean is going to be pretty straightforward. You're going to have 4 rules, right? And it's going to be based off of different time frames. The time frames are usually going to go from the 15-minute all the way to the 4-hour. As you can see, you have 2 different step-by-step graphics. One for the 15-minute through the 1 hour, one for the 4-hour through the daily, right? These are obviously going to represent the time frames. On top of that, on this scanner, each idea is going to let you know in parentheses which time frame the actual pattern is being called out on. In addition to that, where it says time passed, pretty self-explanatory. It's been 14 minutes since the last one was called out. Okay, if I scroll down a little bit more, refreshing. So if I scroll down a little bit more, you'll see these were called out 17 hours and 14 minutes ago, which probably means these were called out yesterday. Okay. Now, the DeLorean itself is going to be labeled buy. It's also going to be labeled sell. Okay. The main thing you want to be able to focus on, which is what we're currently in right now, is the time of day that you're looking to trade it. So, like anything else, you can technically trade any time of the day that you want to, but they're giving you this range because this is going to produce the best results. So 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. Eastern, obviously, if you're not Eastern, correlated with your time zone, I'm Central. So this would be 1 to 9 a.m. Central. Okay. So the first question, before you even think about taking a trade, hitting buy by market, sell by market, put in a buy limit, sell limit, buy stop, sell stop, you got to ask yourself and you got to check the clock, which is probably going to be a cell phone or your Apple Watch, right? Is it between 2 a.m. and 10 a.m. Eastern, yes or no? If the answer is yes, it's on and cracking. If the answer is no, then you just go stop in your tracks, okay? You're not going to do anything else. So what I want to be able to see is, let's get a little bit of participation, right, in the chat. Is it currently between 2 a.m. and 10 a.m. Eastern right now? Yes or no? Let me get you to drop the answer in the chat. Okay. Let's get a little bit of participation. We got 3 people on the call, right? Let's get at least 3 yeses or no's. So is it between 2 a.m. and 10 a.m. Eastern? Yes or no? Let's see. All right. We have a yes, right? Let's see if the 2 other people on the call can say something too. Let's get full participation. It's not like it's a gigantic crowd right now. You know what I'm saying? So let's get everybody involved, right? All right, cool. Right, the answer is yes. So that means it's on and cracking, okay? So they just called out some new DeLorean. So we go look at the live market. Neither one of these are good. And we're going to go ahead and go into why neither one of these are good. This is perfect, okay? So like I said, you got to be able to decipher the bad ones from the good ones. So what I'm about to do is I'm about to go ahead and break this down for you, okay? So we want to be able to know if it's a buy signal or a sell signal, right? Now, the dope thing about that is a buy signal is going to be represented by an up blue arrow, okay? A sell signal is going to be represented by a down red arrow. Pretty self-explanatory, okay? Everybody knows up means buy, sell means down, okay? So the next thing I want to be able to focus on, let's get that arrow back. All right, cool. So the next thing I want to be able to focus on is step number 1. So step number 1 is going to ask us a simple question, and we want to see if we can get a yes. The motive is we want to get a yes across the board. If any one of these steps does not give us a yes, we have to throw the entire trade in the trash and we cannot take it, okay? Do not get this confused with if all 4 steps pass, we're guaranteed to win. That's obviously not how anything works in life. Nothing is guaranteed, but it definitely increases the probability, okay? So if we look at the 2 candles to the left of the arrow, is the blue candle bigger than the red? So let's go over that question one more time, right? If we look to the left of the arrow, the 2 candles to the left, 1 and 2. If this is the arrow, the left of it would be 1 and 2. Is the blue candle bigger than the red? Well, yes, I think this blue candle is substantially bigger than the red one. So step number 1 would be a yes, okay? Step number 2, does the red line cut through both candle bodies, right? Remember, we want to still have a yes. So if we're going to pay attention to this red line that we see right here, we want to know, does it cut through both of these candle bodies? Not the wicks, the bodies, okay? This one clearly cuts through this body before it goes to the other one. So I think we're good, right? Let's go to step number 3. Is the gray, aqua, or blue line closely below the 2 candles, right? Is the gray, aqua, or blue line closely below? So if we look at our 2 candles, okay? If we are looking at our 2 candles, wait. Bam, 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 bam. So if we're looking at our 2 candles, we want to know, closely below these 2 candles, do we have a gray, aqua, or blue line? Well, we can actually see we have a aqua line. The motive of step number 3 does not have to be all 3 lines. It's asking you if any of these 3 lines are closely below, okay? Now, the word closely is relative, so I'll show you an example of what is not considered close, right? But obviously, if it's touching it, I mean, it's technically touching it. I would think that would be considered closely below, okay? Now, step number 4 is where it gets a little tricky, right? You want to make sure that the gray, aqua, or blue lines are not closely above, right? So that means you do not want to have them closely above. That's why it says you want to make sure that they are not closely above, right? So if we were to look above, right? And a word above, you have to use it in perspective. So above would technically be up here, but what they're really saying is if any of these lines are hitting this candle, right? Anywhere near the top or the bottom of it, right? The top in this reference, if it was a selling candle, it would be the bottom, but the top of it, then you don't want to take that. Reason being is because remember what I said, these lines act as support and resistance. So if this line the entire time was above price, that means that the reason why it keeps rejecting, right, is because it is a resistance. And the motive of it is you want to have this far away so that you can trade towards it. You don't want to trade through it. You want to trade towards it. So for those reasons, this would be an example of a bad DeLorean that you would not take. Now let's go look at the other example they called out, GBP CAD, right? So now we're going to look at the example for a sell, which is the exact same steps, just for a sell. So look at the 2 candles to the left of the arrow. Is the red candle bigger than the blue? Okay, let's see. Whoa, whoa, that was crazy. That was crazy. All right, but so they want to know if you look to the left of the arrow, let's look to the 2 candles to the left, 1, 2. Is the red candle bigger than the blue? Yes, it is. Does the red line cut through both candle bodies? Red line, 1 candle body, 2 candle bodies? Yes, it does. Step number 3, is the gray, aqua, or blue line closely above the 2 candles? Okay. Now, this is where it gets tricky, right? So remember on step number 4 is whenever we got the X, right? Now we're about to get the X on step number 3, right? Step number 3 means we can't even go to step number 4 because if any of these steps don't line up, you can just stop right there. Because we only need 1 no in order for us to say the entire trade is a no-go, okay? So they want to know if the aqua, gray, or blue is closely above price. Well, if I check, it looks like all of them are below price, which is not what we want. We want them to be closely above price. So for that reason, This would be an example of a bad DeLorean that we could not take. Okay. We go look at Euro JPY. That's an ugly one. Let's see if we can. Okay. This will be a good example of right. So a sell, right? So let's go through the steps without looking. If we look to the left of the arrow, the two candles to the left, this is a sell because it's a down red arrow. We want to know if the red candle is bigger than the blue. Yes. Step number 2, does the red line cut through both candle bodies? Yes. Step number 3, is there a gray, aqua, or blue line closely above the candles? Yes. Step number 4, okay, make sure the gray, aqua, or blue lines are not closely below. Now, this is whenever I said the word closely below or closely above is relative. This would technically be considered too close, okay? Now, the thing you want to start practicing is whenever you're taking DeLoreans, you want to make sure that these lines are far away or just not in the way at all. You want to have something like, let me see if I can find an example to where they're like far away. Let's see. Let's see. Might not be able to find an example. Okay, something like that. Something like this, right? Now, it's not going to be this far necessarily, but this is like an example. Notice how far away this is. This is like nobody with good working eyes and decent depth perception are going to say that this is close. So remember, step number 4 is you want to make sure that it is not close. This is definitely not close. So this is how far you would like it to be. It's definitely not going to be this far in general, but this is what an example of far away looks like, you know, too close. So this would be far away. So like if this gray line wasn't in the way, this would be enough space as well. But you're definitely going to need more space than this example we were just looking at. Let me go check these, make sure these haven't started. Oh man, I think this finna leave without us. All good. Okay. All right. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So that is going to be basically the DeLorean. So like I said, the thing I always want to make sure people do is you got to put in the effort. So if any of y'all are brand new to this strategy, once again, make sure y'all go tap into the YouTube videos that I dropped in the chat earlier so that y'all are able to stay up to date and informed with that. But I'm pretty much done. I'm be real with y'all because like I said, I don't personally have any setups. It is a Friday. Fridays don't necessarily yield setups all the time. You know, you may get some setups on Fridays, just depending, but I don't necessarily usually expect a lot from Fridays. I don't expect that much from Sundays or Fridays. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's pretty much money time. So Sundays and Fridays, it's kind of like if you get something, it's like a bonus at that point. But I don't necessarily go into these days necessarily expecting anything just because it's the end of the week. End of the week, very end of the week and the very beginning of the week. Um, so but yeah, that was pretty much it. So like I said, I did record this video. I will upload it on the YouTube channel. So I appreciate y'all for being on the call. I will see y'all again next week. Like I said, the day of next week is going to depend on when I send out a trade idea. So I'm gonna just keep it to doing calls whenever there's actually a trade idea that we're in or that I've called out. So with that being said, y'all have a great weekend. I'll see y'all later. Peace.